Hey guys, this is Daniel. So, I've been working on these mopeds for like 3.5 years now. It was a mistake to buy them because I still have to get titles and everything. But I'm finally working on them because I finally have the part that I needed that a couple years ago I was too dumb to know that I actually needed this. So, I've cleaned this out, videotaped me cleaning it out, working on it, whatever. I'm most of the way there. The problem is, whatever I did when I was assembling it, it doesn't actually pedal. I don't know why, so I gotta figure that out. So, the problem was, I took this apart 2 years ago and left it in a box, and didn't think to videotape myself taking it apart. So that's what I'm doing today. So I have this other one that I'm gonna document taking it apart, seeing which piece goes where, so that way hopefully I can figure out what I did wrong with this one. So, because as far as what I can tell, everything I've done so far is correct schematically. I just can't find what I'm missing, and there's like 1 or 2 washers that just showed up, and still can't figure it out. So I'm gonna zoom in on the motor here, and I'm gonna start working on that. Alright, so we're gonna start with this section first, just this piece up here. I mean, technically, at this stage, I don't need to remove it, but I want to make sure that I didn't miss any washers or know of any washers that I'm supposed to have. This part's going to be inconsequential. It's the oil injection system, and I'm not even going to use those on these anymore. Alright, now that we got all 4 of those out, each one of them has a little washer. We'll set them aside somewhere where we won't lose it. Pull this out. Looks like whoever put this in last used silicone as well as the seal. And it is actually pretty nasty. So we can just remove that seal. Actually, I don't even... Does that part get the seal, or is it supposed to be sealed on the other side here? If I can get this reed out. There we go. There's your reed valve. Ooh. I don't like how that looks. It looks like the piston's scored up on the inside of that one. Alright. So, I'll take the magneto off next. Oh, and don't forget this one. This is that, can't remember what you call it. It's got the hole in the bolt. But that's, like I said, oil injection. I'm not even going to use that. Alright, so this bit here. And I will use my impact for this. Let's see, what size was that again? Alright, it's, yeah, 17 millimeter fits. Pop that in there. Unbolt's easy enough, hopefully. And then what we got in here, there is no washer on this one. So this is the weird end that has the kind of 2 sections sticking out. Those... I mean, you could use any bolt unless you're using the oil injection, because those 2 pieces are necessary for oil injection. Alright, so this is the piece that you need if this thing's stuck, which obviously on mine it is because it's been sitting for 2 years. So you just take this, thread it in there. Come on. Get in there. Alright. Take that. And slides right off. There you go. Alright, there's your magneto. Doesn't seem like there's any washers or anything to do with that. So it's weird. I'm not exactly sure. I'm still trying to get used to the difference of the engines here. This one has 4 coils. The other one that I'm working only has 2. And another difference that we have here is this one on the timing. Looks like it's got hex bolts, while the other one there has Phillips bolts. So, and the big thing, if you take this off, the big thing you want to remember is to watch where your timing is on there. So you got those 2 little lines on there, and there should be a line on here already. So if you don't have anything marked, you're going to want to mark it there so you know exactly where you're lined up. I mean, the timing's probably not going to be perfect, but actually let me get a hammer here. I'm just going to set a little notch right in the center. Ooh. Try that again. I actually got the little notch on there. That's funny. Doesn't take much force. Because you want to try to know exactly where that was if you take that off. I'll probably have to replace this. It's got so much rust on it. It's a smaller Allen key. It's bigger than that. There it is. Let's see. There it is. Oh, good grief. There it goes. I think is it only 2 in this one? I think it's only 2 in this one. There we go. Got one there. Got one there. Pop that off. Yeah, there's no blanking out of the word. No shims, no washers, nothing like that. And I will just set the bolts in the magnet so I don't lose it. So all that's together. All right. Eventually, I think we have to take that apart, but I don't think that's necessary at this stage. Next thing we have to do is drain the transmission fluid, which you have bolt on the top, Allen key right there, and then a bolt on the bottom, which I believe they're all 1/2 inch. Yep. Let's see, I need something to drain this in. I doubt it has much fluid in it anyway. Alright, so you got one of these bolts. It has a little, it looks like a copper gasket, or copper washer right on there. Set that aside for now. I'll just put it back on once I make sure it's drained out. Whoa. Same thing with the top one there. And this is a 7/16 on the side here, because we're going to want to pull this off before we actually pull this off. Okay, there's a little bit of fluid in there. Not much though, not much at all. Yeah, barely. Alright, 7/16. Pop that guy out. So it's got a nut and a washer. We want to make sure to, for the most part, gently tap this out if we can manage. There we go. So everything with that piece, you get this wedge bolt, washer, and a nut. Put that aside. You can probably just set it on there once we pull this off. And this piece gets, you have this bent washer, the spring, and one shim washer. It's probably about 5.5 millimeter. So it looks like that's everything for that assembly there. So make sure you don't lose that. And I will just put this in here for the time being. Oop, I'm losing my tools here. Alright, now I shouldn't lose that. Yeah, there's not much oil in there at all, so I'll just stick this down here. Stick that somewhere where it's not going to leak everywhere on me. Alright, so we've got all the bolts here. And I should have, where did I set her? Of course, the one I just finished using it on outside got stuck in there. Let's see if I can help coax it out. There it is. Nope, nope. Got the wrong portion out of it. Come on. There we go. Get all these out. This is the one up top here is the long bolt. It's very hard to forget because that's the only one that'll actually fit in that section. Oops. I think there's one more, maybe two more. I can't remember if the fill bolt actually needs to come out or is that just a spot placement for that one. Oh wait, almost forgot. Well, no, that's the crankcase. I don't need to pull that out quite yet. Let me try to pull this in out. Yeah, I don't think it's going to matter. I'm probably just going to put that right back in once I figure out how to pull this off. There we go. Well, so I thought. Alright, so the cover's coming off. We've got a couple shims. Alright, we've got a large, about a 5mm shim. Sets on there. We have another smaller shim. And that's all for that. Actually, let me measure this out so I can tell you exactly how big these shims are. So the first shim is about 1mm. Second shim is about half a millimeter. So put those aside. I mean, they only fit in that section, so easy to remember. We have in the middle section here, there's a shim that was right on top of there. There's another shim. This one's a really thick shim, and this one's a really small shim. So the small shim fits on the bearing itself. So we have, the small one is probably 0.2, nope, 0.3 millimeter, and a 2.2 millimeter. Good grief, that was a thick one. All right. So, first thing I gotta do is take this one out. It's the exact same size bolt as the other side there, so 17mm. That guy's in there pretty good. Alright, I might actually have to let this sit for a couple minutes. So we'll get back to that. Oh, nope, there it went. Alright, so we have one bolt, 17mm. We have, looks like a locking ring here. We have, of course, our main unit, which I'm not going to take apart. Actually, the second gear on this one doesn't look that bad. If that's, I can't remember which side's the second and which side's the first. First gear, obviously, it's got a lot of wear to it. Looks like something was grinding it down. So I'm not going to take this apart. I already took it apart on the other one, and they're really generally easy to put back together as long as you pay attention. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, but I don't mess with the gears or anything on them. So set that aside. Alright, on the inside of that section we have, if I can pull it out, another shim washer right there. So we are going to measure that one out. This one is 2.1. Set that with that. I hear by a lot of people that is the biggest one everybody forgets, because if you forget to put that one on, your whole shaft is riding on the gear, and you'll have transmission problems. Alright, now before I can take this section, oh actually no, okay. This whole time I thought you would have to take that one chain drive off to pull this out, but you can actually pull this out without putting the other chain drive off. So yeah, this pulls straight out. Once you get it, come on now. It's coming. There we go. Pull straight out. And yeah, this whole unit, as long as you keep it intact, I don't see any washers or anything on it. Doesn't look like there's any wrong teeth, so that's good. Put that aside. Yeah, this was rubbing up against something, so that's not that great. Alright, so this part is the part that got me confused the last time. And this is probably one of the things that I was forgetting. So you got the little peanut. Everybody calls this peanut. I can kind of see why, but this is the next part that comes out of this. So you get your peanut there. Then in here is another washer shim, and I'm fairly certain this is one of the pieces that I messed up when I put that one together. So I'm gonna have to take this one, take that one apart, put the correct size in, and then put it back together. So this is, it's 1.95, so about 2 on that one. And I will just slide it in here. Right, I don't see anything else on that spot. Let me go ahead and pull the gasket out maybe. I'll deal with that later. Let me wash my hands off real quick, or at least get some of the oil off of them. Alright, now I'm going to open up the inside here. I guess before I can do that, I'm going to actually have to take the cylinder off. And this has been sitting outside without a spark plug in it for 2 years. Yeah, okay, so this just sits in here. I swear this thing pulled out. I guess I'm wrong. And that just spins the gear that's in there. Okay. I'll sort it out. Alright, so the bolts in here are 7/16. I have 7/16 on this. I had to use a 1/4-inch socket because the 3/8-inch socket that I had, I think it's 3/8, 1/2 inch. I can't remember what sizes are anymore. I guess it's 1/2 inch actually. The 1/2 inch drive socket that I have doesn't quite fit. Yeah, it came out. Before cylinder head comes off. Boom. Ah, look at all that rust. Nasty. Alright, so there's no washers or anything on that. Ooh. That's not a good thing to do. Alright, it's fine. It'll be alright. Alright, and this piece also comes out. Of course, you have the piston that'll pop out with it, so it is going to be... Alright. So basically what I've been doing is just each individual section, like the piston or the cylinder bolts here, put that in a baggie, the nut with the shim there, put that in a baggie, and then store it away until I'm actually ready to work on this one. Alright, so now we just got to take the... Oh yeah, no, I was working on this. Actually, one thing I did notice is when I took the front cylinder off, or the head, or whatever you want to call it, I don't care. There's usually a metal gasket here, and there wasn't on this one, which disturbed me. So of course you got the gasket in there. There's no bolts or anything holding the rest of that on, so we can set that aside. And of course you have your piston, which, good lord, this is scored. It's scored like crazy. Will I even be able to use this? Yeah, the inside of this is scored too. I probably won't be able to use this one anymore. So I'll probably just have to get new, like the 70cc kit or whatever, as long as the rest of this is good, which, who knows, it might be horrible. But yeah, no, the pistons, I'll zoom in on this in a second here. So just take your pliers, take the little nut out there. You can do it on the other side as well. The guy I bought it from didn't seem to be the smartest one, so I wouldn't be surprised if this is actually backwards. Oh, I bet this is going to be a pain to get out too. Oh man. So are these piston rings even intact? Looks like they're intact. Doesn't matter. Alright, you know, I'll deal with that later, because it's not going to matter when I take this part apart. So, what I can do, set these aside so I don't lose them, because I don't really care. I'm going to have to rebuild this thing entirely later. Excuse me. Okay, got your Allen wrench. One there. One there. One there. One there. One there. Sorry, I'm actually not doing a good job facing this towards the camera, am I? One on the outside, or two on the outside, I should say. Oh. Alright, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of those. I believe that's everything. Oh, I forgot. 8 of those. Sorry, my bad. Forgot to pull that one out all the way. 8 of those. Now we just have to figure out how to get this thing apart. There we go, it's coming apart. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Come on. Against there. Okay. Alright, now that I've basically destroyed what was usable left of this piston, which wasn't much anyway, I just have to get the other section out, which the way I did it last time was just keep going out here. It's like deformed on both sides. I think it overheated. There it goes. the whole bearing came out with it. That didn't happen the last time. Now, there was no shim on this side. I believe there is a shim on this side. Some have one on either side, some have none. It really doesn't matter a whole lot as long as this thing goes in and holds together correctly. So, we got both sides off. So no shim on there, shim on there. So the only other piece I'm going to take apart is this one here. Just to make sure if there's any specific gears or whatnot in here. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to pop this one out a little bit. Just flat enough to actually get the that flat edge off. Whoa. There we go. Alright, so on the gear side, or I should say the sprocket side, we have a nut, a lock plate, the gear itself, and that is everything on this side. On the other side, we have a gear, and that's it. Just a gear. Nothing else. So, yep, that's how you open it up. Now the rest of it is just getting the seals and the bearings out. But yeah, it's mostly disassembled. And as far as the bearings go, you just jam something sharp up in the bearings, or in the seals here. You just keep going at it until you get a grip. There you go, and there's your seal. And then you just got to pop out your bearing. So this one you basically just force out, and you just force it out. That's really all there is to it. I'm not going to get into it. So yeah, hopefully that will help you if you need to assemble one or take one apart. Hopefully that's all the information you need to know. So there you go.